Day by day, dear Lord, to you these things we pray, to hear and see you more clearly, to love you and love like you more dearly, to seek and follow in your ways more nearly, day by day. Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. In our readings for this Sunday, we had the opportunity to witness and learn from two vastly different conversion stories. In our lesson from Acts, Paul's dramatic Cecil B. DeMille experience is described by Luke. This zealous persecutor of the way is physically knocked to the ground by an amazing light show, and hears the voice of Jesus calling to him. After their conversation, now blind, he is led to Damascus where an at first reluctant Ananias lays hands on him. Paul's sight is restored, and he begins to preach that Christ is the Son of God in the synagogues. Wow, what an amazing turnaround from persecutor to proselytizer. Robert W. Wall shares this about Paul's experience. The real climax of this story is not that Saul changed from moral morass to virtuous living, or from Judaism to Christianity. Saul's turn to Jesus rather writes him for a future scripted by God, a chosen instrument to bring Jesus' name to the Gentiles and the people of Israel. Being forgiven, loved, and free, Paul's transformation was not just for himself, but chiefly for God's purposes. Conversion experiences, rather dramatic or sublime, may be very personal, but are not meant to be kept private. We are changed so that we can share the love of God with others and invite them into the spread of his kingdom. Our gospel reading from John details Peter's continued 2 steps forward, 1 step backward kind of conversion experience. In today's reading, after encountering the risen Christ 2 times, he has returned to his hometown to resume fishing. Here's how James Leggett describes Peter. Then there was Peter. It's about Peter who had, around a charcoal fire in a courtyard of the high priest, 3 times denied Jesus. It's about Peter, who, in spite of everything that has happened since the crucifixion, has gone home to Galilee. It's about Peter, who decided to go fishing because that's who he was, and he thought it was time to settle down and go back to what he was best at doing. Mr. Leggett offers that perhaps Peter even contemplated starting the former disciples' Fresh Fish Emporium Incorporated with the other 6 disciples. Other commentators are a little more compassionate, suggesting that all the disciples returned to what they knew, just to try to sort things out. But the fishing proves to be fruitless. As they head into shore, an unknown voice calls out, "Children, you have no fish, do you?" and suggests they go back out, this time dropping their net on the right side of the boat. Obeying, they haul in an enormous catch. When Peter realizes that the person on shore is Jesus, he gets dressed and jumps into the water to meet him. After the other disciples bring in the boat full of all the fish, they're invited by Jesus to share in what some have called the first breakfast. Around another charcoal fire, Peter is given a chance to turn again to Jesus and respond to Christ's call upon his life. 3 times, Christ asks Peter if he loves him. 3 times, Peter asserts his love for Jesus. Forgiven, loved, and free, Peter receives his Savior's commands to feed and tend his sheep. According to K. Sylvester, this story offers some of the deepest implications of resurrection for us. We are forgiven. We are invited to start over. We are completely loved, and we have a job to do. This isn't only Peter's story. It is our story too. When fear holds us back, love calls us forward. When we feel trapped by the way things always have been, Jesus invites us to cast our nets on the other side of the boat, change our perspective in light of the resurrection. The conversion experiences of Paul and Peter are studied in contrast. One is sudden and profound, and the other is slow and halting. But both teach important and at times parallel lessons. First, conversion is the work of and is initiated by God. God can use anyone, from a threat-filled zealot like Saul to a fright-filled deserter like Peter, who is willing to listen to his voice. Conversion demands a response to God's call. Saul allowed himself to be led blinded to Damascus, and Peter jumped into the water and this time ran toward Jesus. Conversion is not a one-size-fits-all experience. God meets individuals where they are, so each conversion experience will be very different. Conversion is not for the individual only, but for the spreading of God's kingdom. God does not transform people's lives so that they are happier or their life is easier. God transforms people so they can become heralds of the good news and workers in his rule on earth. Finally, conversion doesn't happen just once. Like Peter, we are given many opportunities to turn to the Lord. Conversion involves turning from our worldly cares and concern to God and his plan for our lives. The way of love that we've been studying invites us to turn to God every single day. Case of Esther adds, we are called not only to proclaim God's love known to us in Jesus, but to act on it. That may mean setting aside fear and the way fear binds us into small lives, and embracing love as the basis of every action we take. God's love, set loose in the world in the resurrection, needs our hand and feet and hearts to make it concrete in our place and time. Like Peter, we're invited to change our perspective and cast our nets where the love of God is available for us, and there is plenty for everyone. Jesus invites us, come and have breakfast. In the morning light of resurrection, there is no room for guilt and fear. We are forgiven, loved, and free, and we have some sheep to feed. And to her words, may we all say, Amen.
Amen.